You're listening to Business Talk Radio, where we take business to the next level.
Rapping with Dr. Jacqueline connects you with experts from all over the world to help you take charge of your career, your business, and your life. Rap along with us. Visit drjacqueline.com to learn how to become a guest or a sponsor. And now, the doctor is in.
Hello and welcome to Rapping with Dr. Jacqueline presents A Better You, live here on Business Talk Radio and social media. I am your host and executive producer, Dr. Jacqueline Kerbeck. I am a certified life, career, yoga, and meditation teacher. And my show today is all about lessons from the best coaches, consultants, and trusted advisors. And back by popular demand is Megan Sandwick joining us from California. Hi, Megan. How are you?
I'm so good, Dr. Jacqueline. How are you?
I'm great now that you're here in the studio with me, and I'm excited for your presentation. But before we begin, why don't you tell people a little bit about you and the value that you bring to this world?
I'd be happy to do that. So my name is Megan, and I am a strategic productivity partner. And what I do is I help small business owners, entrepreneurs, consultants, anybody who's working anymore. I help you come up with specific personalized productivity habits and processes. So if you ever are like, I have more day than I have time, I help you come up with a solution for that. And we'll come up with something personalized and that you'll actually use on an ongoing basis. So I am Megan. My website is downwithspp.com.
Thanks, Megan. And as I've shared before, Megan is my productivity coach. So she's helped me in so many ways. There's so many tools out there that I wasn't even aware of. And Megan just works through all of it flawlessly, seamlessly. She's an excellent coach. I highly recommend that you contact her.
Thank you for saying that. I do appreciate that.
Well, it's definitely true. So today, the way things are going to work for those of you who haven't seen the show before is Megan will have 15 minutes to present a lesson to us, something to help us be better personally or professionally or possibly both. Megan, are you ready?
I am ready. Absolutely.
Perfect. What I'm going to do is I'm going to solo you. And I'm going to put up the 15-minute timer.
Okay.
And I will mute myself. So here you go. It's all you. Take it away, Megan.
Okay. Thank you so much, Dr. Jacqueline. So what we're going to talk today about productivity, because it's me and that's what we always like to talk about. But we specifically want to talk about how we can take control of our responsiveness to control the outcome so that we're getting done what we want and working smarter, not harder. I'm going to share my screen really quickly so that we can, so I have a presentation that we're going to go through and we're going to look at. So as I said, what we're going to do today is we are going to talk about productivity and we're going to talk about responsiveness. So I'm going to put my slideshow up really quickly. Hopefully that looked good. So when we think about productivity, a lot of times people think it is our, we think that it's what we're doing. We think that it's our to-do lists and our tools. But if you think about it, productivity is so much more. Productivity is actually, it's a mindset as well as what we do. So what we want to think about today is how we respond to situations with our productivity. So to get started, what I would like for you to do is to create a post. How would you, so let's say you were going to post this, you could pick Instagram, Twitter, Facebook. What I would like for you to do is to take 2 minutes, decide where you're going to post it. And I would like for you to take 2 minutes and answer this question in a post. How could you describe the control you currently have over your productivity habits and time? How would you describe the control you currently have over your productivity habits and time? Take just a minute and create a Facebook or Instagram post or Twitter post for that. How did you describe your productivity? Did you describe that, I've got my productivity, I'm good to go? Or did you describe it as, not enough characters in this post to write? Let's look at how you can move towards taking control of your productivity and your responsiveness. To do this, we're going to kind of use a math formula, and we're going to look here at a math formula that's going to help us with our productivity. And the formula is event plus response equals outcome. Event plus response equals outcome. So what we want to look at is we're going to look at that formula first, and then we're going to look at how it comes into productivity. So years ago, I'm going to age myself here. In the early 90s, I was working in the welfare to work employment services space. And at that point, I was able to go to a conference. And the conference I went to, Jack Canfield was a speaker at. And Jack Canfield talked, and for many of you, if you don't remember, if you haven't thought about him for a while, Jack Canfield wrote Chicken Soup for Every Soul, right? There was chicken soup for the country music lover's soul, chicken soup for the Christian woman's soul. There was a lot of chicken soup. And what Jack Canfield did there was look at how can we find the positive? How can we find good things in life? Well, when you think about it, that's also how we need to look at our productivity. So when we were at the presentation, he talked about event plus response equals outcome. And it was super powerful for me when I was working with employed participants, unemployed participants, and it's become super powerful for me for productivity. So let's look at it a little bit. So the event plus response equals outcome. So for example, let's say our event in life was, I'm unemployed, I don't have transportation. Sometimes the response from unemployed people who don't have transportation, there is a response that could be, there's nothing I can do, I can't go to work. My outcome is going to be hopeless. So, right, unemployed, no transportation is the event. The response is, there's nothing I can do, can't get to work, hopeless, I'll take what I can get. We know that's one way we can always look at things. There's another way we can look at things. What we want to do is start opening and expanding how we look at things so we can take control of our response. Another way to look at it is, I'm unemployed, I don't have transportation. We could also look at it as, what public transportation is available? Could I ride share? Can I get a job close to home? Could I work from home? When you think about it, when that becomes your response, your outcome moves into possibilities. I'll work for what I want and move towards what I want. So when you think about it in life, event plus response equals outcome. Our response directly impacts the outcome positively or negatively. This also happens. So now let's talk about this with productivity. So when you think about it in productivity, on the one hand, we could have, I'm swamped. This is insane, not realistic. There's not enough time to do everything I need to do. What we would then be able to say, so if that's the event, sorry, I'm having some issues here with the screen, but we'll work through them. So if the event, as I speak, there we go. So if we're talking about productivity, and if the event is, I feel swamped, this is insane and unrealistic, if our response is, this is impossible and hopeless, I'm just gonna do what I can do, we're gonna have a feeling at that point of being defeated, I'm not in control, and I'll take what I can get. Another option, so that's one way with our response. It can be negative, right? This is impossible, hopeless, can't do it. We're going to have a feeling of defeat. Another way to look at it is, let's think about this strategically. What are the actions I can take to make the most impact, and what resources are available now? I'm going to repeat that. Let's think about our response. If our response when we're busy with productivity is, let's think about this strategically. Where are the actions I can take to make the most impact, and what resources are available? So if we have that response, our outcome becomes, okay, I've got this. It's not going to be easy, but I have a plan and we'll work for what I want. When you notice these two examples, the difference comes from our response. So let's look at equipping ourselves so that we are strategically responsive to anything that happens, whether it's, I've got a lot on my to-do list, I've got a lot on my, I've got a lot of emails. So when you think about it with our response, we're able to adjust the outcome. So if in this, as we're talking about it, if we're able to have 3 responses, what is our motivation? What tools and resources do we have? And what's our execution? So if we're able to focus on those responses, we're going to determine the outcome. So let's talk about our responsive motivation, right? So if my to-do list is full and I've got a lot of meetings today and I'm beginning to feel a little bit stressed, my response is, if I'm thinking, what is my motivation? When you think about it, what is it that I need to do now? What is my motivation in this moment? Why am I doing this? So when we're going back to why is this happening and why do I need to do it, we're going to be able to say our response is our motivation. It's about how we want to do it. It's about not wasting our time. And it's about not judging ourselves, and it's remembering our why. So if we think about our responsiveness, if we're able to remember it, if we're able to say, I am busy, but I'm remembering my why. Why is it that I need to get this done? I know today, so for example, for me, Mondays are my busiest day. Normally I have client calls from 6 to 6 a.m. to 6 p.m. And so my way to look at that, right? One way is event, super busy day, response, oh my gosh, stress, so much to do. My outcome is going to be what? Pretty stressed. But if I remember my why, and if I remember that it's all about me and me wanting to be a productivity partner and create my own business and to have a day where I've got 12 hours of people that I want to work with, I mean, that's awesome. So that gives me a different, when I'm looking at my response, I get to say, you know what, Mondays I'm up at 6, but I'm excited because it's doing what I want. So if we think of our response, if we remember our motivation and our why, it's going to be very helpful. And then it also helps us plan how we can do the rest of the day. So for example, I know Monday I'm booked 6 to 6. That's all I'm doing. Nobody else gets anything else from me. So it helps us again to prepare that response. So our why is so important. Remember, productivity habits grow with momentum. Another option for a response, right? So again, my day is busy, my week is busy. I have a lot on my to-do list. What is another response that we could have? And that other response is, what are our tools and our resources? So what's important to look at, what tools do you like and want to spend your time using? Are those the tools that you're using in your life right now? Because if you're using the tools you like and want to work on, again, event, busy, tools, the response, tools that are useful, the outcome is going to be taking control of your time, working smarter, not harder. And it is important to find the tools that you like. So this picture right here is actually me sitting at the beach and working. And I was able to do that because I had all the tools that I needed to be able to do it. And I like to work at the beach once in a while. So it's important to ask yourself and to find yourself what's important with these. Another thing that's important when it comes to our responsiveness with productivity, don't settle for workarounds and frustration. We have become so used to workarounds that we now develop systems that allow us to build in workarounds from the beginning. No, no, no. What we want to do is we want to ask ourselves, there has got to be a better way. I'm sure someone else has figured this out already. And so if we're asking ourselves, I'm busy, I've got a lot to do, or hey, there's this project. And like right now, one of the projects I'm working on with one of my clients is she needs to redo some of her spreadsheets. She owns a jewelry store and jewelry company, beautiful stuff. And so she has to track her jewelry. And so one of the things as we've been working together, we realized that she and all her employees spend a lot of time maneuvering on this spreadsheet. They spend hours a day. So one of the things that I'm helping her with right now is to say, okay, let's look at the formatting. Let's look at the information. Let's look at that. So you're able to say, there's got to be a better way. All of you spending time on this is not worth it. There's a better way. Let's make that happen. When responding with your tools and resources, and when you're looking at, again, I've got things that need to be done. I want them to be done in a good way. You have to be a fierce resource ninja. You need to be on a quest to find the habits that are best for you. When you think about these last years and everything that's happened and all the inventions of apps and resources and online availability, it's amazing. If there's ever something that you want and there's a problem that you think should be fixed, it might be there you should ask. For example, I was working with a client this morning and he gets a lot of email newsletters from people and he wants to read them, but he doesn't have time on a regular basis. So one of the things that we looked at today, again, going back to, okay, so what is his response? The issue is he has a lot of emails and newsletters from people that he wants to read. His response for a long time was, I'm just going to delete them. I'm not going to look at them. But the outcome was he wasn't getting the information that he needed. So one of the things that we worked on was, okay, so let's change that response of ignoring them. So what we did is we set up a resource using SaneBox, and he now will get his emails. He'll get a digest every week that he can look at. So again, be a fierce resource ninja if you identify a challenge to be able to say, how can we fix it? Okay, so our motivation is one way. So if we're looking at that responsiveness, right? We know responsiveness determines the outcome. So we know motivation is one of the areas why we're doing it. We know that tools and resources are another area. And third, execution is another important thing we need to be aware of. When I mean execution, what I mean by execution is, how are you going to get this done? How are you actually going to sit your seat on the chair and finish it? I like to call it my butt seat time. It's when my butt is in my seat and I'm at my computer and I'm just doing it. So one of the things we want to think about with execution is how can we do it, and how can you get done whatever you need to get done with the resources, time, and everything that you have. So one thing I would say, in order to be in control of your responsiveness, be intentional to schedule time and regularly review and revise your goals, priorities, and expectations. If you only do it once a week, it's okay, but daily is better. Sit down, look at your calendar, look at your to-do list, look at your goals, see how they're all going to work. Because in that moment, you can make an adjustment, right? If I go into the day knowing, oh, at 1 o'clock today, I'm triple booked. At 12:45, if I don't do something about it before then, it's going to become a problem. So one of the issues that we want to think about is be intentional to schedule time regularly to review your schedule, your goals, your actions. Then the second thing we want to be aware of, it's about action. When we think about event plus response equals outcomes, sometimes the response needs to be doing and not thinking. We can overthink things when you think about it. I don't know about you, but I can create scenarios in my head 6 ways to Sunday about almost anything. Sometimes I need to turn my brain off, and sometimes I just need to do. And when it comes to getting stuff done, that's also important. It's important. It's about action, and it's about getting that one next thing done. Because when you think about it, we're going to go back to the power of momentum, right? The power of momentum will be your friend. If you get one thing done, then that's going to get the next thing done, and you'll be able to move forward. So when you think about your response, it's being intentional to schedule time. It's how you're executing. It's about action and doing and not thinking about it. And then it's dropping attachments to expectations and to be honest about what's working for you. A lot of times, and I think over the last year, we've learned a lot of lessons about expectations and what they can do, and about resetting expectations. If you think about it, with productivity, expectations and setting realistic expectations is the way to win from the beginning. It's the way to get things done. So again, if we're thinking about the event and how we respond to the event, if we're able to drop mental attachments to an expectation or how we thought something was going to go, we're able to then move from that place of staying there, maybe bummed or kind of wallowing in it. We're able to move to, okay, it is what it is. Here's what we need to do. Let's move forward. So when you think about the things we've talked about today, I wanted to give you 3 specific thoughts. We know event plus response equals outcome is hugely important in life, specifically productivity. So we want to be aware of what our response is when it comes to productivity. Our response needs to be based on our motivation. Why are we doing what we're doing? Understanding the big picture. It is also important about our tools and resources. Are we using the right tools? Are we being fierce to find what works? Are we asking, there's got to be a better way? Because we know that there is, and we know there's a lot of smart people out there who are figuring it out, and we can use it from them. And then the third part we want to be aware of in that responsiveness is the execution and the how you do it, how you get it done, that you're just sitting down in your seat and you're getting stuff and you're using the power of momentum. When we look at it, we talked a little bit at the beginning, our goal, if the event is to reduce the chaos of the day, and that's what we want to do, if we want to reduce the chaos of the day, if we have the response of, this is impossible and I'm hopeless, I'm just going to do what I can do. Again, if that's our response, our feeling is going to be defeat. I'm not in control. Just like I'm not in control of this screen. We'll say I'll take what I can get, just like I'm doing right now. That's one way to look at it. Another way, as we go back to the screen one more time, is to be able to say, I'm swamped. If that's the event, I'm swamped. I'm going to take a minute and set realistic expectations. If that's the event, if we're saying I'm swamped, I know it, I need to take a minute to set realistic expectations. If our response is, let us think about this strategically. What are the actions I can take and what to take to make the most impact, and what are the resources now? If you've got that attitude and that response, then you're going to get to, okay, I've got this. It will not be easy, but I have a plan and I will work for what I want. When you think about it, This is where we want to focus in our productivity. We want to be in that space where we're saying, it's not going to be easy, but I have a plan and I'll work for it. Okay, time to update your post and think about where we started. So at the beginning of this presentation, I asked you to say, what are your productivity actions and how would you describe how they're in control? And then we talked a little bit about the importance of the responsiveness and 3 tools you can use. Before we finish, I want you to think about, how would you update your post now to say, how will you now describe the intentional actions you will take to increase your productivity? And add 2 things you will do today. At some point today, sit down and think about this. What am I going to do? How am I going to be intentional to take control of my productivity? Remember, time is the one commodity we all have the same of. Doesn't matter who you are. Doesn't matter what it is. We always have 24 hours in a day. And so I want to make sure with this is to be aware and talk about your responsiveness, because it will equip us to be able to get things done and work smarter, not harder. So that is the information. Again, so my name is Megan. I am a strategic productivity partner. And if you have questions, thoughts, suggestions, or if you even want to learn a little bit more, please feel free to reach out with me at my website, downwithspp.com, or you can email me directly at megan@downwithspp.com. Thank you so much, Dr. Jacqueline.
Once again, outstanding. Well done. You always deliver really pertinent information that is applicable to everyone. So thank you for that. I want to debrief with you, but let's take a commercial break. Let's catch your breath, and we will be right back. Stay with us here on Rapping with Dr. Jacqueline presents A Better You, live on Business Talk Radio and social media. Thanks. We'll be right back.
Hi, my name is Zane Carson Carruth, and I'm the author of this book, The World's First Tooth Fairy Ever.
Reading is magic. Studies have shown that reading to your children lays the foundation for greater success in life. Reading helps develop language and vocabulary skills. It helps improve memory, and it encourages curiosity and inspires creativity. The benefits are immeasurable, and as a parent, you'll benefit too. In only 10 or 15 minutes a day, you'll be creating more memories and a bonding experience that will last for years to come. So take time to read to your children. Read them books about things that engage and interest them. Tales of fairies and magic fascinate children, and as everyone knows, the Tooth Fairy is at the top of the list. If your child loves magic, wands, adventure, and what child doesn't, you'll love reading them books from the trademarked series The World's First Tooth Fairy Ever. Follow along as Abella, the world's first tooth fairy, accidentally starts the tooth fairy tradition. Learn the tricks of being a professional tooth fairy in the book Abella Starts a Tooth Fairy School. Your child's imagination will soar as you read the adventures of Abella and her magic wand. These wonderful books are available at worldsfirsttoothfairy.com and at Amazon, Barnes & Noble, and Walmart.
Hello, I'm Dr. Jacqueline. Rapping with Dr. Jacqueline presents A Better You. And here to tell us more is the creator of A Better You, Al Cini. Al, welcome to the show.
Thank you, Dr. Jacqueline. It's always a pleasure working with you and everyone out there. You know, you might be a coach working with individuals professionally or personally, or you might be a consultant working with businesses, or you might be a trusted advisor specializing in an area like finance, let's say, or the law or healthcare. Whatever of those roles you relate to, you all have one thing in common, and that is you're working every day to help people become better versions of themselves, a better you. And Dr. Jacqueline's A Better You program is an opportunity for you to express your expertise in a particular area for 15 minutes in front of an audience of people who are looking for help from people like you.
Yep.
So, Dr. Jacqueline, maybe you can tell everybody how they can learn more about this.
It's so easy. You go to abetteryou.tv and you sign up to book your session.
You're listening to Business Talk Radio, where we take business to the next level.
Welcome back to Rapping with Dr. Jacqueline presents A Better You. I am your host and executive producer, Dr. Jacqueline Kerbeck, and my special guest today is Megan Sandwick. Hi, Megan.
Hey, Dr. Jacqueline.
How'd you feel doing your presentation? You had to overcome the mystery slides switching back and forth. I felt for you on that, but you did great.
It was a little distracting and I felt bad, but I was just like, okay, we'll just keep going and figure out how to make it work. So hopefully it was, not too bad for everybody.
It kept going back to that one slide, which I thought was interesting about event response and outcome, because that's what it all stems from, right? So right. I feel like the higher power was saying, everyone focus on this. But what I really liked was how you got the audience, the viewer, the listener engaged right away. And then at the end, you brought it back to there and you gave people homework to do, basically, which I think is really part of, at least for me, how I've become more productive. So it's realizing that productivity and being good at being productive impacts every part of your life, doesn't it?
It does. Mm-hmm. And that's one of the reasons I went into productivity, because I realized I want to help people with their lives and I can't help with everything. But if I can help with this one thing, then that's a great target to be able to move on to everything else.
And what I like, especially thinking that, I'm working with you, you're my coach, and then you talked about someone who has a jewelry store, you talked about someone else who has emails, that it doesn't matter what your business is or what your background is, everyone needs to find tools to be more productive.
Yes.
Have you ever found a situation where someone didn't need any help?
No, I will be honest with you. No, I have had situations where I do have one. Okay, I do have one client. I've been working with him for about 4 years. And at the beginning, he came in and he very much had a system that he liked and that he was following. And he didn't necessarily want to revise that. He just wanted me to be alongside him. And so it was one of those things where I had to realize that it was going to be taking time to say, okay, let's see what you've got. And then sometimes it's just time and comfort level. And at that point, that was like a security blanket. So he didn't want to give it up. And so I was like, all right, we won't give up let's work this out. And it took about 6 months, but then we were able to move him to something else that worked more effectively.
Well, that's great. And you're so flexible too. And so I love the fact that you talked about Mondays, your schedule is booked, you're 6 to 6, and you set boundaries. So you're not going to be doing anything else, taking on anything else on a Monday because you have a set schedule.
Mm-hmm. And people in my life know, like, if you text me and things like that, like I will, after 6, I'll get back to you, and they also know I'm tired afterwards, and it's helped me and it's helped others.
I was going to ask, how difficult do you think it is as a coach for people to set boundaries?
Super difficult. I think it's very difficult. And I would say that COVID has adjusted how I set boundaries and how I work with people. And one of the reasons is because, again, working with productivity and over the last year with COVID, as everything about people's lives have changed, I realized that I wanted to be that person that was flexible. I realized that I had the time and space where I didn't want to be the additional stress for my clients. And so it really helped me. And it's been a challenge, to open my mind to say, okay, it's not about the specific time on the calendar that I'm meeting with my clients. That's important, but it's about the holistic, bigger picture. So it's been kind of interesting, but it's also been good to learn, like, okay, I need to look at what's going on in my client's big picture life, and then identify how I can be the best resource.
Thanks for sharing that. How do you handle clients who may be resistant to embracing new technology or new processes?
That's a good question, because change is hard, especially with technology. And what I do is, the minute I notice that there's kind of the stop, or, as people are kind of stepping back, that's when we start to readjust the expectations and realize, like, okay, right now it's not about implementing everything. Right now it's just about getting you in there and getting you started. And so I start with, all right, like, if you log into that today, you're good. That's all you need to do. I just want you to log in and look at Asana, or I just want you to, you don't have to do anything, just look at it. And that way it becomes a comfort and a familiarity. And then because when you think about it, people who do what we do, we're pretty stubborn and we know what we want. And so while we are asking for a coach, like, we want their help, but we want it with, and so that's where I get to come in and say, okay, so we're not going to solve everything, but we'll just make you comfortable here. And then it's that start, and that builds the relationship and the trust and being able to do it. And then after a while, you can go back to the client and be like, okay, now we're going to go on, after you know them for a while, you can be like, okay, it's change, it's comfort zone. I know it's not comfortable right now, so here's what we're going to do, but you can at least talk about it and get it going, and that helps.
And I love that you brought up the word trust, because I think that is really huge when you're working with the coach. You have that initial back and forth, and then you have to get that comfort zone where you trust each other, because it goes both ways, right? The coach is also expecting that the client is wanting change, is going to embrace change, is going to do the work necessary for the change.
And you know what's so important with that, and what I've learned, and I'm sure you have as well, when we go into it with coaches or partners, we need to be asking ourselves, do I want what I want for me, or do I want what my client wants for them? And there's two differences there, because that's when you can come to, like, yeah, in my mind, in a week, we set all this up. And then you realize, but you know what, in my client's mind, in a week, maybe they have a username. And if that's okay with them in their comfort zone and you're moving forward, then that's the expectation you need to go towards, not your own.
Exactly right. I love the way you summed that up. Megan, what is the best way that you like to work with people? Do you work specifically on Zoom? Do you do phone calls? Will you do in-person meetings?
I do it all. Whatever works best for my clients. You know what I'm saying? It's because each relationship is so different. And so, like, I have one client that we always talk on the phone. We're both on the same document, but she just likes to talk on the phone rather than Zoom. And so, it's kind of in that sense, for us, we get to say, okay, how can we reduce the barrier to entry, or how can we make that entry more comfortable for people? So I do Zoom most of the time, but I'll work with my clients on the phone as well.
Well, and what I really like about you is not only are you flexible and understanding, and you offer people different ways that you can partner with them, but you constantly keep yourself updated on what the new productivity tools are. And I know with me, sometimes I start blithering on and going down some path, and you'll say, hey, why don't we take a look at XYZ? You bring me back into my lane of where I need to be so we can get things done. So you're really good at that too.
Thank you. I appreciate that. That's why I like having strategic along with productivity, because it takes a little bit of both, I think.
I think so too. Yesterday, actually, I interviewed someone who is an expert in helping people implement Salesforce.com and use Salesforce.com. And I know I used Salesforce when I was in my corporate world. Do you have any clients who need assistance with those types of, like, CRM platforms?
Yes, I have set up many clients. I've set up clients on Zoho. I've set up clients in Salesforce. I've set up clients in Sugar. I've set up clients right now. I'm setting up a client in Aptivo. So yeah, I've used a lot of different ones. And also, and it's in Infusion. So, you know what I mean? When you think about all those words, I've had a little bit of a chance, to work in a bunch of them.
Well, I hate to say I only heard of Salesforce. I didn't hear of the rest of them. So that just goes to show what I'm saying. So Megan, one other thing that I wanted to bring up, because you're really good with this too. If someone wants to start posting on social media and they don't have somebody to do it for them, it's a business owner, they want to get their branding out there. There are tools that can help people schedule that type of thing, aren't there?
Lots of tools. There's like Hootsuite, there's Buffer, there's Later. There are great tools to where it can help you curate and set up your content in advance so that you're able to be posting on social media. And I love doing that because it's so fun when you wake up and you realize that you've got notifications from tweets, or you know what I mean? It's so fun to be like, hey, look at me. There's people I've been communicating with while I was sleeping. So I like doing that.
And you also helped me with a platform called Upwork, which I wasn't familiar with that either. And not only that, but you helped me determine which person I wanted to work with. And then you even helped set up the Zoom call, and we're on the call with me as we looked at someone who is going to overhaul my website and take drjacklin.com to WordPress. So that's the type of thing that you're in the trenches with the client, right?
Absolutely. Yeah. And it's so funny you mentioned that, because right now I'm working for 3 different clients. I'm doing interviews for them. So Upwork is a freelance platform. And so if you are a freelancer, or if you're an employer or a person that needs to hire people for projects, I would check it out. Upwork. There's also Fiverr. There's a lot of websites, freelancer.com. There's a lot of sites out there, but Upwork, I worked there for 2 years, so I'm most familiar with it. So that's why, but what you can do is definitely post and find people to do many different projects. Like Dr. Jacklin said, a website, a virtual assistant, callers. And so what I've been doing this past week is I've posted for 3 different virtual assistants for 3 different clients. And then I've been interviewing them and screening them. And then I'm getting ready to help them on board. I've got my first onboarding tomorrow.
Well, congratulations on that. That's exceptional.
Thank you.
I'm going to reach out to you because now I need book covers, a front and back book cover for my new book that's coming out. So I'll defer to you next week and see how we can get somebody working on that.
That'll be fun to pick too. Yeah. Mm-hmm.
Yes, that'll definitely be fun. Before we close out the show, I just want to let folks know out there that for the Better You program, you are a charter presenter, which means I have hand selected you to be as a part of my team. You're also on our board. And just for folks out there who are watching, maybe they're not watching live, but they'll watch at some point later. What do you think the value is in the A Better You program?
Oh, that's such a good question. And I'm glad you asked, because the value, it's expanded for me. You know, at the beginning when we started working on it, I was so excited to work with you and to be able to present content, right? And I thought, oh, this is a great way where I can share lessons. And that's absolutely been helpful. But I would say the connection with the other coaches, other trusted advisors and consultants, and getting to know other people and it's been in a very in a very authentic way where we're able to ask questions of each other and get encouragement and support and learn. And it's increased my network in markets and in areas and in interests that I didn't have before. So the content is absolutely great, of course, from A Better You. But I think that opportunity to have a glimpse into so many different minds and hear so many different people, because people are doing amazing work. And so I love that part.
Well, thank you for sharing that. And we do have a comment from LinkedIn from Kathy. Hi, Kathy. She says, thank you. So I think she was saying thank you for your presentation, I'm sure, which was excellent. You know, Megan, you brought up a really great point, and it really warms my heart because it's something that I really like to do. I like to connect people. I like to bring people together and hope that not only will they connect on LinkedIn, but they'll find ways to collaborate. And we have a group of people that really, most of us have never met each other before. And, you know, we're basically from all over. We have someone now from London, someone from New Zealand, and people from all over the United States. And Kathy says, yes, thanks, Kathy. Megan does a great job. Thank you again for watching. We have this group of people who didn't know each other before. We're getting to learn each other. And you came up with a great idea that we should do a retreat for A Better You. So basically what I want people to take away from watching what is A Better You, lessons from the best coaches, consultants, and trusted advisors. It's not only a platform where you can come forward and do a 15-minute presentation that then we can edit and customize. And then we ask you to put together a 5-question quiz. And then if you're happy with the way that 15 minutes came out, we can offer you the opportunity to upload it on A Better You University. And at the Better You University, which is on a platform called Engagement, which has been around for years, you have the opportunity to sell your lessons. So the more lessons that you have, the more opportunity for revenue and the more the world gets to hear from you, which is really kind of cool. And finally, let's talk about something that I'm really excited about too. That's a Better You Symposium and Trade Show, right? We're going to have 10,000, right? I'm putting it out there, 10,000 coaches, consultants, and trusted advisors that are going to go somewhere together. We're talking about a cruise, Journey to a Better You. And this will be an opportunity to have networking. Imagine you're only coaches, consultants, and trusted advisors and people who supply them things, people from HR will all be together, networking, brainstorming, workbook sessions. What do you think about it?
I am so excited. I think I'm excited to attend. Just the air when you think about like everyone, what creativity and what I mean? It's going to be fun just to hear all of the different things because I think that people are truly going to come together. And I think, again, after the last year, I think we've learned that we need coaches, we need advisors, and we've also, for people who need them, what I mean, for our clients. But then for us, we realize we need each other and we also need to figure out how we're doing this and how we can support each other. So it's going to be so exciting.
So exciting. And something that I really love being a coach myself is how open coaches are to helping one another. We learn from each other and then we take the information that we learned and we help our clients by sharing it with them. So I know that coaches like you have been so wonderful to me and I try to be wonderful to other people as well. So it all comes full circle. And to imagine having this incredible positive group of people on a cruise ship, having fun, learning, sharing, I just think is fantastic.
One of the things that when you're saying that, that's one of those when you're walking around and you're going to see other people and it's kind of that environment where you're going to make eye contact with someone and there will be a connection and then maybe there's a client that they have or you have or something you can do together. And it's just, I think it would be fun to have like a graffiti wall of like all the connections and things afterwards and be like, look at what happened,
I do love that. And speaking of connections, you and I are on Clubhouse together and we've had a couple of rooms and we're going to have more. Rapping with Dr. Jacqueline presents a Better You. We just have to finalize the timing and whatnot. But that's a great place for coaches to meet one another. And there's no real format. It's just sharing your bio, telling stories about you, and then other people giving their comments and feedback and then sharing themselves.
It's I think it's a great way to meet people now. And it's a great way to make quick connects. I think LinkedIn is a wonderful, all social media is, but when you just get to talk to someone right now, right here, and just talk about a topic that you're in a room, it's so powerful.
And the fact that it's on audio only, I love too, because we don't have to be all made up and sitting at our computer. We can with our phone walking around. So
true.
My last question for you is, as a strategic productivity partner, which tool or tools do you use the most yourself?
Oh, that's a good question. And I would say it's my calendar. I would say I have a Kanban board and that manages my projects, but on a day in and a day out, it's my calendar because that's where I have, okay, what are my schedule? What are my time? What am I supposed to be doing? Is anything due? And it's color coded and it's a party for my eyes. It's something that I like to see. This is something that I tell people, make it a party for your eyes. So you like to look at it and then you will. But my calendar is where I go the most.
I think my calendar is my favorite too, because when someone goes to book your session on drjacqueline.com, it actually goes directly to my calendar and it's color coded in blue. So then I know that I have an interview or I have a Better You and that I can work around that. So I think it's the calendar.
See, you are so productive, Dr. Jacqueline. You don't give yourself enough credit. You have a lot on your plate. And but you get so much done and you really do have a lot of tips and tricks that you use that are helpful.
Well, you definitely have helped me immeasurably, Megan. So I can't thank you enough. Where can people reach you? And again, for people just tuning in, and what is the value that you bring?
So the value I bring is I help you implement personalized productivity habits and processes that you'll use. So not just like the habit of like your to-do list and how you're going to do it, but your mindset, and also looking at what tools, what automation will be beneficial for you. So I love doing that as a strategic productivity partner. My website is downwithspp.com, and you can always email me if you have any questions at Megan@downwithspp.
Thank you again, Megan. I really appreciate you being here today, and we look forward to more lessons. Every lesson you have is different and unique, and I just know from working with you myself that you have a plethora of information and lessons that we will all benefit from. So thank you again for being here.
I appreciate that.
All right, we'll see you later. Thanks, Megan. And I just want to thank everyone for watching. I know a lot of times people can't watch live, but you can always find us on YouTube, Dr. Jacqueline LLC, and you can find us on Facebook, Dr. Jacqueline LLC, and also on LinkedIn, Jacqueline Kerbeck. If you are interested in being a presenter on A Better You, it's so easy. All you have to do is go to abetteryou.tv. And again, this is lessons from the best coaches, consultants, and trusted advisors. If you have business experience, if you're a business owner, if you're a thought leader, and I'm sure many people out there watching or listening on Business Talk Radio, we love you. We'd love to have you be part of our program and help you spread the word out to your networks. And that's all for today, folks. We're so glad that you were here, and we look forward to seeing you. We have the dating show coming up. That's going to be a blast. We have Kimmy Seltzer and my co-host Lisa Manioki. That is at 4 p.m., right around the corner today. Thanks again. We'll see you soon.